On today's episode of Chicago Bears Now, Chicago Tribune's Brad Biggs dropped some nuggets about the early stages of the Bears coaching search. Kind of wanted to dive into that and just kind of see some trends early on here, kind of explore what some of these news and notes could mean for the coaching search. My name is Harrison Graham. You are watching Bears Now. We're trying to get to 111,000 subs. We are knocking on the door right freaking there. Your guys' support has been amazing. You lose 7 straight games. You guys keep showing up, watching my videos, our videos, I should say. Producer Colin crushing it as well. So please continue to support. We appreciate it. We're here every single day. Go live 3 times per week. Okay, Brad Biggs report. Let's dive into it. Number 1, he claims that the Bears are ready to pay up for a head coach and a coaching staff. Here's what Biggsy had to say. Quote, 2 sources said a plus here is Warren likely will have the green light to spend as necessary to make the right hires, and that's plural because head coach is only as good as his assistants. And I think in today's NFL, there are rare exceptions, but you have to pay big to win big. And I'm talking about not just with, you have a salary cap with your roster, so you have to kind of work around that, but there's no cap on the coach. You could pay your head coach $50 million a year if you wanted to. Now, teams don't do that, but the high pay-in coaches, they make 15 plus. Chargers, who have been cheap forever, they said, you know what, we're tired of this. No more Anthony Lynn's, no more Brandon Staley's. We're going to give Harbaugh 17 a year. That's what the Bears need to do. Now, unfortunately, I don't see a Harbaugh out there. I like a Mike Vrabel. Maybe Ben Johnson costs that much and is in that range. But if you're serious, if you want to show your fan base we are willing to do whatever it takes to get the best possible coach, then go give a guy $17 million per year, because that is what it is going to cost to ideally and hopefully get this thing turned around. And like Big said as well, like, it's not just the head coach. Like, if you want to bring in high-level coordinators, they got to make $2+ million per year. Like, that's just what it is. So we'll see if they're willing to do that. Biggs is reporting that he's being told that is the case. I'll believe it when I see it, but no more Matt Eberflus's. No more, 10th best coordinators on defense. Like, get a high-level coach who's either done it before or someone that everybody wants and believes is going to be the next big thing. All right, number 2. I think we kind of already knew this, but it's even more clear. Kevin Warren's in charge. If you watched that presser last week, after they announced Matt Eberflus's firing and just steps they were going to take with the coaching search, yada, 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 it was obvious he's in charge. But this is just more evidence from Biggs, who said, quote, Warren made it clear, at least behind the scenes, that he'll be leading the charge to hire the next coach. Ryan Poles will be the point man in the operation, but Warren has all the juice, and he made sure everyone is aware. So Kevin Warren has grabbed this situation by the balls and said, I'm running the show. Again, the presser showed that. We all saw that. And I'm kind of conflicted because on one hand, I'm like, if I was a team president and I saw my head coach just fumbling the bag every single week, and I saw players that my GM brought in, some hit, some miss, some players regress, I might hijack the situation as well and just say, you know what, enough is enough. I'm taking over. But on the other hand, he's not a football guy, does give me some pause. I do have this question, and we heard Warren use the phrase in the presser, and Biggs is using it again here. What does point man mean? Like, if Warren's in charge, what does point man mean? Does that mean, like, he's coming up with, like, the interview questions? Like, he's in charge of the interviews? Because based on the press conference, it kind of feels like Kevin Warren is the point man. So I'm not really sure what to make of that. I would love, if we hear from Warren again and he takes questions, I hope someone asks him, hey, when you say Ryan Poles is the point man, can you explain to us what that means? Because it kind of feels like a vague statement of, he's the point man, kind of be like, he's the GM. It's his show. But it's pretty clearly Kevin Warren's show, which, again, as I kind of wrap up this thought, is he isn't a football guy. He's a business guy. I understand being hesitant to trust Ryan Poles because, whether he had full autonomy or not, he clearly liked Matt Eberflus. But Warren being in charge, it makes me nervous. Like, non-football people making football decisions, hiring the head coach, it makes me nervous. So, for better or worse, I hope Ryan Poles has a big say in this because he is the GM. He is the number one football guy you have in this operation. But Man, I just, you feel like the chances of this going well are less likely than it is of going well. A, given the Bears' history, and B, this just feels like a massive unknown with Kevin Warren in charge. Do you guys trust Kevin Warren? Type T for trust, D for don't. I don't see how you could, and it's not even anything that he's done right or wrong since joining the Bears. It's just, what evidence do we have? The biggest thing he's been in charge of is to get the stadium going. Well, where's the start of the stadium building? They can't even finalize a site. I get it, Chicago politics, all that stuff. It's not easy. Maybe just go to Arlington Heights, the property that you own, and start building there. Just an idea. So, yeah, I don't see how you could say you trust Kevin Warren at this point in time. You could always trust Game Time, as they are the place to go to get yourself tickets to a sporting event, a concert, a comedy show, or anything else that requires purchasing a ticket online, which is pretty much all events these days. Get started, create an account, use promo code ChatSports to get $20 off your first purchase. Only terms do apply there. Do you want to go to a Bears game down the stretch? Tickets are starting to drop because the Bears have lost a lot of games here. If you want to go check out the Blackhawks, the Bulls, if you live in a different city, your sporting team's there, you can get tickets, concerts, comedy shows. My wife and I went to a comedy show a couple of weeks ago and had a blast. Got our tickets with Game Time. Really good night out. Dropped the toddler off at Grandma and Grandpa's house and had ourselves a time. So I recommend you do that this holiday season. If you're getting tickets as a holiday gift to an event for someone else, Game Time is the place to do it. Views from the seats. Use the feature Game Time Picks. It's going to help you narrow down your search and kind of give you price points in the venue to figure out, hey, these tickets are in my budget, these aren't. It's awesome. Game Time is the place to go. $20 off, first purchase only with code ChatSports. Terms do apply. What time is it? It's game time. Okay, lastly here from Brad Biggs. Research has already begun, which, again, that shouldn't be surprising. The second you fire Matt Eberflus, within 3 days, I would imagine you're starting to do some background work on some potential candidates. Here's what Biggs reported as well. He said, multiple sources indicate the Bears have already started talking to people behind the scenes, laying the groundwork for future discussions with candidates that they want to be part of this process. So clearly they're doing their research. They're figuring out as much info as they can on all candidates that they want to talk to. And I think the Bears need to check 3 boxes. And if you can check these 3 boxes, you hire that coach. 1, a culture builder. Now, and 1 and 2 kind of tie together, but with 1, when I think culture builder, based on who's available, I think of a couple guys. 1, Mike Vrabel. 2, Aaron Glenn, which I don't love that idea, but I think from a culture builder standpoint, he probably checks that box more than Ben Johnson based on what we know. And 3, Brian Flores. Now, that's a wild card too. Can he connect with the quarterback? That's all fair game. 2, proven winner. Now, I don't think that has to be a guy who's been a head coach. It'd be nice if it was. Vrabel would check that box as well. AFC Championship game, won the AFC South with Ryan Tannehill. Caleb Williams more talented, all that stuff. But I think it could be a coordinator on a team who's won a lot, like a Ben Johnson. Obviously, they tried that with Matt Nagy. Did not work that well. The difference, Ben Johnson has called plays for 3 years. Matt Nagy called plays for 3 games. I don't think it's apples to apples, but a guy who's been around winning and been a part of that winning, not just along for the ride. And then 3, it's got to be someone who's a strong believer in Caleb Williams. And again, I don't think you conduct this search solely because of Caleb. But that's got to be a big part of the pie, right? Whatever the pie chart is, percentages, he's a big chunk. I would say the first 2 are more important, but he is the player on the roster that you are bringing up in these interviews, right? You're not saying, hey, what do you think of Tremaine Edmonds? No, you're talking about Caleb fucking Williams. Do you like him as a talent? What did you think about him coming out? How did you like his tape this year in his rookie season? What type of offense would you implement if it's a defensive guy? What type of coordinators? Give us some names that you would like to bring in here to potentially coach him. What type of scheme? Like, that all matters. Do you think you can mesh with his personality? Like, these are things that you have to get checked off. So those are the 3 boxes for me. Culture builder, proven winner, Caleb believer. If you check those boxes, I'm in. That's what I want out of my next head coach if I'm the Chicago Bears. So with that being said, I think I'm starting to lean toward Vrabel. Now, he checks the first 2 boxes. I have no idea what he thinks about Caleb Williams. I would think he would at least think he's a talented guy. But I've been on the Ben Johnson train. We don't know, but I do think it's interesting that when people talk about rah-rah, culture builder, command the room guy, people in NFL circles don't hesitate to mention Aaron Glenn, the other coordinator there. When you hear Ben Johnson, you typically hear more of like, yeah, creative, good play designer, can coach quarterbacks, which I like with Caleb, but he's not exactly like top-level leader guy. Now, again, we don't know if he is that or not, but if you don't feel good about that, that's a tough sell because how many – he's the next Shanahan guy has just flopped as a head coach. It happens all the time. So I think he's got to check the box of culture type of guy, and it's an overused phrase. I don't even like using it, but the Bears' culture sucks. So they need someone who can grab the bull by the horns and say, we're going to fucking do it like this or you're not going to do it here at all. Because these players are just way too comfortable with losing. And I'm not saying they like it, but at some point you need someone who just refuses to accept this anymore. And is Ben Johnson that? I don't know. I think Mike Vrabel is, so I think he, at this exact moment, might be my top guy. Who do you want as the next Bears head coach? Drop a name in the comments. Do you want Ben Johnson? Do you want Mike Vrabel? Do you want someone else? Do you still want Thomas Brown? One game in, doesn't look so good. Drop a name down below on who you want as the next Bears head coach. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We will continue to monitor everything surrounding this search. I saw a report of a few names being mentioned as some of the Bears' top targets, so we'll certainly dive into that on a future episode as well. My name is Harrison Graham. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and we will see you next time here on Bears Now.